Welcome back, everybody, to with Nathaniel. This is episode 8. Networking with Nathaniel. Yeah, woo woo, is a podcast that I started that allows me to network with other investors, business owners that are, starting a business, scaling a business, sustaining a business. I have the pleasure today with hanging out with I don't know if I'd call him a longtime friend, but a friend for a little while, Bill Welch, who, is it okay if I share the news, Bill? Just got happily engaged to his wife, fiance now of 7 years. So that's really exciting for him, entering into a new phase of his existence on this beautiful blue planet we call Earth. Bill, welcome, man. Pleasure having
Yeah, dude. You stumble a little bit on our friendship.
you.
Like it's been a long friendship, dude. It's
Yeah, yeah.
been it's been
Long
like a
selling.
year. It's been
Yeah.
almost probably a little longer than a year.
Yeah,
Come on,
yeah.
man.
It's amazing. And especially I've come a long way. Maybe not business wise as much as like personally in development. I've seen you come like a long way from just struggling to kind of figure out where you were going to fit in inside of real estate, knowing that like real estate is what you wanted to do, and now kind of having this clear path of direction of how you're going to help people out and be successful in their business, which in turn is going to help you be successful in yours. So, just like kind of real quick, Bill, tell me what just tell everybody your quick kind of journey from getting into sub two, meeting the awesome me, and to where you're at kind of right now.
Awesome. Well, the best part about Sub 2 is obviously you and
Yeah,
your cool fake real background.
yeah,
But to get to your question, where was I basically and how did I get here? So I guess we'll have to take a step back 3 years, and I'm not going to go through everything. But in 2019, I guess that's 4 years, my fiance and I, we made a decision to basically pack up all our stuff and go pursue lifelong goals. And that's what we did. We stuck everything we had into storage unit. It's still all in the storage unit, it's still there. And we went and hiked the Appalachian Trail. So we walked 2,200 miles, took about 6 months. And right after that, we rode our bicycles 5,400 miles across the country. And we planned the Appalachian Trail hike in 2019, and that was like the extent of our plan. And then when we got off the plane in Atlanta, where it was like, oh yeah, this thing COVID starting, we were like, that's stupid.
yeah,
And then we went into the woods, and like 2 weeks later, we walked out and we got cell service, and we were like, "What is this? The zombie apocalypse is happening, and we're
yeah.
in the woods, and we don't have a home." And so that's where we spent all of 2020. We were outside when all you other folks were stuck. We were walking in the woods, and partially through that journey, we decided we were going to bike across the country because we didn't have a home to go home to. So we're like, let's just keep living outside and staying in the hotel rooms because why not? And in that journey, I realized that two things. I wanted to be outside and where it was sunny as much as possible. So Pennsylvania, where I'm from, that was out. Didn't want to do that anymore. And I needed a lifestyle where I could not go to work in an office. I've never done that, but I wanted more freedom, right? I wanted to be able to work from home.
Yeah.
So after our bike ride, we ended up down in Florida, and I restarted an eBay business that I had. So I was buying and selling stuff off Facebook, reselling it on eBay, and I bought a whole bunch of stuff, a lot of stuff, and I did like $50,000, $60,000 in sales that year,
Wow.
which sounds great, but the overhead was really expensive, and eBay takes 15%, and it doesn't turn out so hot. That's when I was like, oh man, I need another way, because eBay is not where I could spend the rest of my life. And the bug of real estate came up again, and eventually I went and dropped the money into sub two because you got to take action, right? If you don't take action, you're never going to change. And that's what I did. I did it, and it was crazy. Still is crazy. It's been just over a year. September was a year. And I appreciate you acknowledging how far you've seen me come. And if I zoom out, I see how far I've come. If I zoom in, I'm still frantic and crazy, trying to figure out real estate and all its ups and downs. But zooming out, I do have a clear goal based off of my experiences in that year, and all the things that I went through have brought me to what I'm doing now.
It's yeah, it's amazing the kind of mental shift that you have to be able to say what you just that very last sentence right there. Um, zooming in and being frantic in the day to day is a good thing, right? It means that we're progressing and we're doing. If you're just comfortable every day and you're like, oh, I'm gonna go play video games today, and there's nothing to do. Like you're not gonna get better. You're not gonna keep moving forward, and that's not the Bill that I know. So it's awesome to hear that, you know, when you are able to zoom out, you're like, yeah, I made a bunch of progress, but I still got to be frantic every day because I got things to do. I got agendas set. Um, what is it kind of that, and I know, of course, but um, what is it that you've got going on right now? And we spoke offline that you might want to share your screen. I don't know if we're at that point in the conversation yet, but what do you got going on right now, Bill, that's keeping you so frantic?
So the frantic part is just me in general, right? I'm always pushing what needs to be done and what can be done, and ultimately trying to solve problems that I have, and then realizing everybody else having the same problem. So I've always been searching for a CRM for the longest time, like even before Sub 2. I was doing stuff with Google My Business, and I needed a CRM that could handle people, bookings, calendars, automations, and this whole thing. And 2 or 3 years ago, there just wasn't a really great solution. I tried all of them, and I paid and lost a bunch of money, and that's the whole thing. But eventually, I started seeing in the real estate community that there are lots of CRMs, and I noticed that a fair amount of them all looked the same. And eventually I was like, cool, well, I'm going to try one of these that looks the same and see how it works. And I got in there, and from a high level view, they do so much and they're really, really great.
Yeah.
But the problem that I found is when I buy something that someone else has designed for their business, doesn't work for me. And that's what you would hear as a snapshot in the business, right?
Yeah.
People build a snapshot and they're like, cool, go use this snapshot. It works for me, so it's got to work for you. And I found out that's not really the way it rolls, right? Because my business is not their business. Your business is different. Like we all have different ways that we have set out in our mind that things should be done. So immediately I was like, ugh, I need to change it. And as I started using the white labeled version of the CRM we use now, I was stuck because they didn't allow us to do everything that I knew the software could do. So I was like, man, like this is really frustrating. And customer service was terrible. You couldn't get people to help you whenever you wanted it. So that was like 3 or 4 months of just learning. I learned everything about Go High Level or High Level, which is what we use and build on now. So my journey started with just learning as much as I could possibly learn about the CRM Go High Level. And, we could talk for hours about all the things it does, but that doesn't matter, right? The real thing is what I provide as the most valuable resource to people is a blueprint, because like we talked about, there's a lot of chaos day to day, right? Like, and you're thinking about stuff, you're like, oh, great idea. And then, I don't know, maybe everybody else is different than I am, but I'm like, oh, I'm going to do something else. And oh, what was that great idea? So it's really important for us to use sticky notes and whiteboards and things of that nature to get our ideas down so that we have a blueprint, we have a map of what it is we're actually trying to build.
Yeah.
And for me, this was the most crucial step of building a CRM is putting it on paper, getting everything you want it to do down so that when you start building, you have something to follow. It's just you're not worrying about, oh, what was that thing I wanted it to do? No, you already did that. You already figured that stuff out. Now you're just following like paint by numbers, right? You just do it. So that's kind of what I wanted to share here. And this is what I provide for everyone that comes to me to have help, right? If somebody's like, Bill, I need help. I need a CRM. Here's what I think I want it to do. And, they start telling me stuff and I'm like, cool, we can absolutely help. Go High Level can do all the things, no problem, and more. But what's most important is if I'm going to help you or if you're going to help yourself, we need to build this blueprint so you know what to do. And that's what we'll do. If, you and I, we've got some experience and we can just spend 5 minutes or so and we can just show them what we use. And that's Miro, Miro.com. And I'll share my screen and we'll just get simple with it.
Yeah, so it's while you're doing that, it sounds like you are not only doing the actual back end of building the CRM inside of your Go High Level service, but you're actually helping these people realize exactly what the CRM is going to do for them and what they need it to do through this Miro. This is the first time I'm seeing this.
Cool. Yeah. So that's exactly what it is. Like,
Yeah.
whether it's us and our team and our customer service people that are providing you support from the build all the way down for 6 months, a year from now, when you're like, oh, I don't understand this thing. Like, we're here to make sure you understand how to use it, because that's the problem I had. I needed help all the time because it was really complicated and I had to learn it all myself, but not everybody has the time or wants to do it, right? Because there's other higher value priority things that people can be doing.
Yeah.
And that's the purpose. This to me is a high priority value because I know it and we can do it. But for you or someone else that is new, this is probably not the best way to spend their time is learning Go High Level. Best way they can spend their time is go building relationships and using the system. So there's 1,000 ways to do this, but we're just gonna, these are sticky notes, right? We all know what sticky notes are.
Yeah.
So what's the first thing we would do if you were to build a CRM? Like what do you want it to do? What is your end goal?
I want to buy houses to flip.
All right. Buy houses to flip.
Yeah.
Cool. So we'll probably put this one at the end. All right, what else? Give me some more things. What are things you want your CRM to do? Like, get it out of your mind. Let's put it on some paper.
I want leads to come into the system.
Okay. What else?
I want to be able to drip leads on a periodic basis. SMS and email, let's say.
Cool.
I want to be able to make calls.
Yep.
I want to be able to send contracts. Track my key KPIs, key performance indicators.
Okay.
That seems pretty good to start.
Cool. Okay.
Those are like my basic things that I need to get done.
I like it. I like it. So buy houses to flip. That's the end goal, right? Leads come into the system. That probably starts at the beginning. Send contracts, probably somewhere over here. Track KPIs. Probably, that's probably, I don't know, man. Where do you think that lies?
Outside of the workflow.
So like, we'll just keep it up there.
Yeah.
Then calls go here, maybe. Then maybe that goes here,
Yeah, I love
right?
that.
So we can play connect the dots. We can do all this stuff. So we can start to build a workflow, right? But so where do these leads come from? Where do leads come from? You think? Where would you want your leads to come from?
Are you asking me for my current business? Or just hypothetically, we're making up a.
Anything you want, man. This is a whiteboard.
Yeah, let's say that they're coming from cold calling and cold texting a absentee, out of state, um, owners over 5 years, 3 bed, 2 bath or more.
Wow, I'm surprised I typed all that so quickly.
And it's
Good.
pretty solid.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So that's where you want your leads to come in through, right? And in a perfect world, what does that look like for you? Like, are you using VAs or like we could just spend an hour on this, right? So we could do so much here. We could break this down into, is it your VA that's doing it? Is it AI? What is it? How are we going about getting these people in contact with us? Because that's always my main goal, right? I want these leads to be reaching out and scheduling a time with us so that we're not qualifying ourselves to them through the phone call. We're qualifying them through the drip campaign, through the initial outreach, and everything else. Because the goal is for us as people is to organize our time in a way that makes it efficient. So if we can have a system where the lead will be able to book a call with us simply, that makes sense for me and for most people, as opposed to like the lead calls you at 6 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock at night and you can't pick up, right? You want to make sure you give them everything that you have and are really attentive and can listen well. And not only listen, but all the conversation that happened up until then. And that's just, starting to get into the weeds of what Go High Level can do. But this in general is a really high level version of what we start to build for people. And we will really get in depth with this. And, we could spend a lot of time on it. But what we do is, you'd call me, you'd schedule a time with me, and we probably spend 15 minutes on the phone just trying to get a general idea of what it is you need. Maybe it's a simple answer that I can give you and you're good. But if you really have a problem and you've tried other things and it just doesn't work, then we would go into an hour-long Zoom where we would just dig deep into this. And at the end, this is yours. I just give it to you because the only thing I can do with it is build a system for you. But you can continue to edit it. You can add to it. This is easy. This doesn't take any development skills or knowledge of a software. This is just postcards.
Right.
So that's the basic of what we're doing for folks, is just giving them a blueprint and helping them build stuff, saving them time.
So you're having an initial free kind of consultation.
Yeah. The first call is 15 minutes just to see like if it even makes sense for us to go to the next call, and then build you out a blueprint. That's what we're going to do. We're going to sit down and make sure you're organized. Because for me, this was a problem I had in the beginning. I didn't know what on earth I was supposed to be doing.
Right.
And this would have been great because I would have had something to follow every day. Like, you wake up, what are you doing? Oh, I'm doing this thing. Why am I doing it? Because it's going to get me down this path to buying houses to flip. So I just solve my own problems. And then if I have the problem, usually other people have it.
Right. And now are you I'm sure you have, drip campaigns, SMS campaigns, email campaigns, those types of things. Are these is is this something that you're able to reuse for each client now? Have you, not necessarily everybody gets the same campaigns, but like, you know, this was a cold call lead or this was a cold call campaign. Hey, this other guy has a cold call campaign. Can you just take your SMS campaign from one and put it on the other now?
So the system is pretty modular in general. Like the CRM is modular. It, and yes, you could just take one section of like a drip. You could have a box that has all the pieces that make a drip campaign happen, and you could just give it to someone. The problem is actually making that work within the system is the hard part. And you probably have a different way of talking than I would. We have different ideas on the way that it should go. So yes, a drip campaign is a drip campaign, but what is inside the drip campaign and how many days apart, that's the real difference that we're going to be making sure everything is the way you want it and the way that makes sense to you.
So we're kind of working together on, every step of the way. You're the one actually doing the implementation, but you're going to come to me for, hey, do these texts look good, or how would you want to word these differently? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, so we're gonna take this thing on Miro and we're just gonna blow it up. We're gonna
Okay.
keep building it out. Like I will help build the structure, but it's certain questions. Like we just did a private money lender workflow, and we built out the whole workflow, and we went through and we were like, okay, what questions do you already ask people all the time? What's the same things you just keep repeating? All right, cool. Well, now it's on paper and now it's in a form. And now you don't have to do that anymore. You just say, hey, go to the website. Here's the form. And we also teach them how to, like, example, the private money lender, they're always saying the same thing to people that are coming into their circle. That person who has a 401k has a problem, right? They have a 401k and it's only getting them 4%. Well, instead of you saying the same thing over and over, we're putting a video in front where they state the problem and the solution. And then it's like, hey, if you want to actually be a lender, follow the steps, answer the questions. And then when you're done, it prompts them to book a call. So now they just pick up the phone at 8 o'clock at night and, they're on the phone. They've already qualified them. It's just getting to know.
Wow. Yeah, so you're doing a lot of the qualifying ahead of time. So when you get on the phone call, it makes the phone call easier.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it weeds out the people that are just fishing or don't really care.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I did cold calling, not me personally, but we were doing cold calling and cold texting for a long time. And you, I mean, you get a lot of people that are just like, yeah, yeah, I'd love to sell my house. But then when you actually talk to them, they're just tire kickers. They're just like fishing for an offer so they can go shop it around or so they can make a decision. But yeah, being able to taking I think you call it actually, and I've heard it multiple times now from other people, gatekeepers. So you have different gatekeepers that are protecting your time and qualifying, disqualifying whatever prospect, whether it be a home buyer or a home seller or a lender or somebody who's trying to get money. These are all prospects that are coming into your system, and now you're protecting your time and being able to qualify and disqualify a little bit better. Um, we are running out of time here, Bill.
Yeah, give me a question. Give me the
So let
thing.
me can we stop I had to stop this picture.
Oh yeah, stop it. Stop the share.
I got a couple good ones here for you. You didn't
Okay.
want to be prepped here. So
No, this is all
um
new.
I have an idea what your answer is going to be for this one, but hear what it is. What's the most exciting thing that you have done lately, Bill?
Can you clarify the term lately?
Um no.
Oh man. Um, Gosh, I would have to say the decision for my fiance and I to in 2019, it was Christmas where we went on a Christmas hike on the Appalachian Trail, and we both have had the dream of hiking it. We made the decision that day on 2019 Christmas to, in 1 year, pick up everything and leave it all behind to start the Appalachian Trail. That changed my whole life. That changed her life.
Yeah.
That's the only reason we are here now. And that's the only reason, and everything has worked, is because of that day.
Pretty exciting. That wasn't the one I was thinking, but
Yeah, I mean, getting engaged in front of Hogwarts Castle, is that what it's called?
I don't know. Yeah, you know better than I do.
I,
Yeah. Hogwarts.
Hogwarts, yeah. That was really exciting. That was terrifying. But if I like zoom out,
Yeah.
the thing that got us there was that decision in 2019.
Yeah. I could definitely see that. This I got a second question here, and then I'm going to ask you for some recommendations. Um, what would you, when all is said and done, um, Bill is no longer here on this planet. What do you want to be remembered for?
Preserving land.
Oh, tell me more about that.
So where I grew up in Chester County, Pennsylvania, suburb of Philly, and a really, really popular place to move. And, beautiful horse country, rolling hills, trees, the whole thing. Gorgeous. Development out there, it was just buying up farms and cattle land and horse land and turning everything into houses. And I got to witness the people in our community come together to preserve that land. I mean, we're talking hundreds of acres all over the county and all over that, general area, to make it accessible to everyone. Trails in the woods that would have been houses. And that's so important to me. Like, you can see the underlying part of my life is the outdoors. It
Yeah.
just is. And when you start putting up houses, you take away the outdoors. You do. That's just the way it is. And I love real estate, but I also love our natural environment more. So I think that they can coexist. And that is the real hard part, is having those two things coexist. So preserving land for the future, because once you put a house on,
Then,
nothing.
yeah.
It's someone's property.
Yeah. That's interesting. I grew up in Southern California, and people out there may know the name Irvine. When I grew up, Irvine was strawberry fields, and
Hmm.
now it's a smaller San Francisco essentially. It's a tech hub of Southern California. It's crazy. Um,
Yeah.
I'm wondering, Bill, if there's any books, documentaries, podcasts, anything like that that you have been drawn to, have maybe touched you in a certain way.
Okay. So the easiest one is there's two, but they're different sides, right? Currently, I'm rereading Alex Hormozzi's $100 Million Leads.
Okay.
I've already listened to it like 3 times, but I got the book, and now I'm listening to it while I'm reading it.
He recommends
Right.
it. Yeah.
He recommends it, and it's also very helpful for me, who I was horrible in school, and just reading is not good for me. I don't do it. It just doesn't happen. But reading and listening, that makes sense, and highlighting. So that's cool. Lots of benefits there. But I've also found that listening to books about things that are maybe not business related, I think they're nonfiction, right? Books that aren't real.
No,
So
fiction.
fiction,
Yes.
fiction, things that aren't real, made up stuff.
Yep.
I've found that listening to those style books they really help me get out of my head and get somewhere else, right? And a book that we just listened to that was amazing is Project Hail Mary.
Cool.
It's a book about Earth, and it Earth has the sun has a disease, and the sun is dying quickly, and the whole world has to come together to solve the problem, and they send a crew out into space. And I can't spoil it, but it is an incredible book.
Interesting. Okay. I agree. I like listening to I don't listen to a lot of podcasts. I just don't have time to do it. I don't make the time to do it either. Um, I do end up listening to Joe Rogan podcasts a lot, and
Yeah.
specifically ones that are not like, a business person. I mean, they're all typically business people like, hey, this guy's a photographer. This guy's like a microbiologist, just because like I need other things in there too. And those other things create new pathways to get me thinking about real estate sometimes. Like, oh man, I never thought how I could apply that to this. But
Hmm.
I love that. I appreciate you, Bill. Every time we talk, I feel like a new thing kind of you inspire me. I do want to. We're really short on time here. How do people get in touch with you? What's the best way for somebody to reach out that maybe, um, wants to get their thoughts onto that
Miro.
Miro? Yeah.
Miro. So I think the easiest way, we could probably give them a link, but if they just send me a text at this number here right below my face,
Yep.
it's going to be the best way. And
Okay.
call me, but I probably won't pick up.
Yep.
Leave me a message or really just text me and tell
Okay.
me who you are and what I can help you with. Because you're just like, hey, that's just, give me some more content.
Yeah. That's the fastest way to get a call back is letting you know what you're calling for. Give
That's
you
it,
a
man.
Yeah, give you a little insight there. Well, I appreciate you, Bill. It's been a pleasure. I can't believe that we just blew through this time like this, but that seems to be the way our conversations go. So I'll let
That's
you
what
get back
happens.
to your go high level stuff. I appreciate you, man. Keep killing it.